إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين.
If you notice very interestingly, there is a change in tense in this verse. There is a change in tense in this verse. From the third person to the second person. The first three verses we're speaking in what is called the neutral tense. Is the third tense. Allah is this, Allah is that. Then when we get to the fourth verse, automatically the tense changes. We are having now a dialogue. You are taught in the English language that once you begin your essay, your book in one tense, you stick with that tense. However, in Arabic, it is a part of eloquence to change your tense. Iltifat is a common phenomenon of Arabic poetry and especially of the Quran. In Surah Al-Fatiha, this change of tense, what is the purpose of this? Is that after praising Allah in such a beautiful manner, but there's no action being done. It's simply a description. So by changing the tense and by speaking directly, we are translating knowledge into action. What do we do after we've praised Allah? What do we do? Iyyaaka na'bud. We worship you, O Allah. Also of the wisdoms of changing the tense is that the rest of the surah is now a dialogue between the servant and Allah. We notice, for those of you who are studying Arabic, this is not the most common way to phrase, we worship you. If I were to ask an Arabic student or studying Arabic language, translate, we worship you, he would say, na'buduka. But that's not how Allah says it. The Quran, it actually does something that is not that common, and that is Iyyaaka na'bud. It takes the pronoun, and that is ka, the kaf is the pronoun, and it separates it from the verb and put it before the verb, which is what the Quran does. Iyyaaka na'bud. Two wisdoms here. The first wisdom, the emphasis is not on our worship, it is on Allah. So we put pronoun referencing Allah at the beginning. And then the second wisdom, when we say na'buduka, we worship you, in Arabic, it could mean you worship Allah today and you worship somebody else tomorrow. But when you put the pronoun before the verb, then the emphasis is that you alone do we worship. Exclusivity, hasr in Arabic. The third wisdom here is that amazingly it's in the plural. Even though the one who recites the Fatiha is always a person. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again is demonstrating, the ones who worship me are millions and billions, I am one. Another wisdom, the Muslim is always reminded that he is not a selfish individual being. Rather, he or she is connected to a global ummah. Quickly, وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. Nasta'een means we ask your help, O Allah. The most important type of ibadah is to ask Allah Azza wa Jal dua. It is really the quintessential link between the man and the Creator. So when we say Iyyaaka nasta'een, we are affirming a frame of mind, a relationship that is internal, not external. In other words, when I go to the doctor and get his medical help, I know that Allah is using the doctor's knowledge to cure me. So the heart is attached to Allah, and the mediums or the methods or the wasila in Arabic are many, right? Allah will use the boss to give you your rizq, but your heart is attached to Allah, and that is what Iyyaaka nasta'een means. It does not mean that it's haram to ask somebody for help, but your heart, you realize Allah is the one who in the end is helping, not anybody else.
Ihdinas-siraatal-mustaqeem.
The first half was the praise of Allah. Now we get to the second half. So this half of Surah Al-Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us what to say and how to ask Him and what to ask Him. So the most important thing we ask for, Ihdinas-siraatal-mustaqeem. Now what is hidayah? We are saying ihdina. Linguistically, the word hidayah means to guide in a gentle and beautiful manner. So ihdina, we want Allah's hidayah. To what? As-siraatal-mustaqeem. As-sirat is a very interesting word. In Arabic you have many words for path. Sabil, tariq. And yet Allah says sirat. The word sirat linguistically, not just in the Quran, the word sirat linguistically means a massive, level, flat highway. And mustaqeem is typically translated as straight, but that's only one of the meanings of istiqamah. Istiqamah implies you're doing it correctly. It's not just the straight path, it is the correct path, it is the moral path, it is the upright path. So all of these meanings come into Siraatal-mustaqeem.
صراط-lazeena أنعمت alaihim.
What is the sirat? This is the sirat of those whom you have shown your favors to. Siraatal-lazeena an'amta alaihim. Now, what is a favor? What is a ni'mah? In Arabic, a ni'mah is every good blessing that makes you happy. Everything that makes you happy is a ni'mah. So every human being has been blessed with ni'mas, if you think about it. So when we are saying, oh Allah, guide us to the path of those whom you have blessed, there must be something more than the blessings of this world. The Quran tells us the ultimate ni'mah is the ni'mah of Islam. What we mean, oh Allah, those whom you have blessed with submission to you. Who are those whom you have blessed? Number one, the prophets. Number two, the Siddiq. Number three, the martyrs. Number four, the righteous people. All of these, by testimony of the Quran, are those who are an'amta alayhim. So when we make dua, we want to be in that category. And these are the people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has conferred blessings upon.
ghayril-maghdoobi alaihim lad-daaalleen.
So, notice Allah asks us that this is the path that you want. Then He says, make sure that you also ask me not to go to the other paths. You cannot understand the truth without understanding falsehood. You do not know what is Siraatal-mustaqeem until you know the Sirat of the Maghdoob and the Sirat of the lad-daaalleen. And of course this is something we fully understand. You don't appreciate anything until you appreciate its opposite. Then that is when you contrast the two. So what is ghayril-maghdoobi alaihim wa lad-daaalleen? One point as well, by the way. Notice when Allah says the path of those, now it is commonly translated in English translations, those upon whom you are angry. But this is not correct, because the Arabic says maghdoobi and not ghadiballahu. In other words, Allah is not mentioned. Maghdoob, those upon whom anger is shown. Who is showing the anger is not mentioned. Those upon whom anger is shown. And then some translate, and those whom you have led astray. No, wala-dhalleen, those who are astray. Now this is interesting here, because when it came to the good path, the righteous path, Allah said, an'amta alaihim, you have favored them. When it came to the wrong path, Allah is not mentioned as the one who is causing them to go astray. And the people who are astray, they deserve the anger, and they deserve to be astray. It's not that there's any injustice being done, but those who are blessed, those who are fortunate, they do not earn that fortune. Allah bless them with that fortune. Maghdoobi alaihim are people who know the truth but do not follow it. Daalleen are those who don't know the truth and they're trying to follow it sincerely. Now, what this means, therefore, is the true Muslim avoids both of these paths. The path of knowledge without action and the path of action without knowledge. So what does that mean the Muslim must have? To be in the middle, knowledge and action put together. And really, my dear brothers and sisters, this pairing up is the central theme of the whole Quran. So we now understand just the beginnings, we see the glimmer. Wallahi, my dear brothers and sisters, we have just scratched the surface of Surah Al-Fatiha, but we just tried a little bit to appreciate the surah that every Muslim recites dozens of times a day, and let us recite it sincerely from the heart. Perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our dua. Wa akhiru da'awana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.